Welcome to One Tired Teacher, episode 251. 3 gentle ways to ease into the new school year. Okay, so I do have 2 more episodes of Readers in the Making, and you can check it out on YouTube, where I'm talking about ideas to help kids learn through the summer. So if you have kids, maybe you want to check that out. But I am not going to do that for One Tired Teacher. I'm going to talk about some things that might help you get ready for the new school year. So welcome back. Here we are. We're still in June. This is our last week in June, and we know what happens when July rolls around. Sometimes it's like, all right, time to get serious. So whether you're sipping that first cup of coffee in a quiet classroom, hopefully not, because you don't have to go back quite yet. Or maybe you're staring at that pile of papers that you brought home and you're like, what am I going to do with all this? I want you to take a deep breath, because today I'm sharing 3 simple ways to ease yourself back into the school year without burning out by week 2. So, hope you stick around.
Welcome to One Tired Teacher. And even though she may need a nap, this teacher is ready to wake up and speak her truth about the trials and treasures of teaching. Here she is, wide awake. Wait, she's not asleep right now, is she? She is awake, right? Okay. From Trina Debery Teaching and Learning, your host, Trina Debery.
Hey, so we're talking about 3 gentle ways to ease into the new school year. We don't want to burn out in week 2. We want to be ready to go. So if it's that time of the summer where you're starting to think about school, let's talk about that. So the first gentle way is to start. I can't get my words out. Start with a soft launch. Now, the first week doesn't need to be like a full academic sprint. You don't need to be like, okay, we're going to get right started in our math books. We're going to jump right into reading. We're going to do writing. We're going to do all these things. We don't have to jump right into all of that. We can ease in more with routines and fun icebreakers, class expectations, read alouds that spark conversation. These kinds of things that allow you to get to know your kids and to build a connection and build that relationship, as well as teaching them routines. Routines are the key. Procedures and routines. That's your saving grace. Like, that's the thing that they need to know. They need to be so good at it that you're ready to move on. You can intermix some academics with that, but it goes a lot further when you are really focusing on the procedures and routines. That way you are not overwhelming them, and you're also building a relationship with them, and it can be really fun. I have a bunch of getting started icebreaker kind of things, and even practicing routines and procedures in my back to school packs that I have on my shop on TPT, Trina Debery Teaching and Learning. So I've got like a beach theme and a superhero theme and a camp theme, and I've got a bunch of different themes. But inside of those packs, they are filled with those kind of activities, all that you need for the first week of school. So check that out if you are interested. I'll drop the link in the show notes. Anyway, but think of this as like a get to know you week for you and your students. You're building connection first and content second. That's the real foundation of a strong year, and it will make all the difference. All right, so your gentle way number 2 is to reclaim your space. What does that mean? Before things get too busy, take time to make your classroom feel good to you. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to come in over the summer for weeks and weeks and weeks. It may mean that you come in for a little bit longer than is given to you. I don't know how teachers get it all done. I honestly don't know. I had friends that would refuse to come and would come on the first day that teachers were allowed to come back. And it was madness for that person. And I felt like, how much extra time did you get with your family then to turn around and live at school for that first week? It was just exhausting. So you kind of have to decide what works for you and to let everybody do their thing. We don't have to judge it. It's okay if people didn't come. That's all right. That's a good thing. They prioritized themselves and their family. But it's also okay if you do go, because in a way, you're prioritizing yourself and your family. You're not going to be insane on the first week. It's going to be much easier. For me, I wanted to have my classroom ready to go before we really had to be back, because that was the fun part for me. That was the enjoyable part. Decorating it, setting it up, and having everything ready, all set and ready to go made me feel better. Plus, I was the team leader and people always needed me, and it was like constant questions. And so I felt like I never had time anyway. So I almost felt like I had to do it, but I didn't feel upset about it because it's the part that I really liked. But an idea for you is to, add a lamp, post a favorite quote, put on your favorite, go-to playlist, make it enjoyable. I used to bring my kids with me sometimes. Honestly, that was not super enjoyable because they got bored and they wanted to go home. So the times that I could do it by myself were so much better. But you got to do what you have to do. I do remember bringing my son, Jackson, when he was a baby, in his pack and play into my classroom and like putting him in the pitch dark bathroom. That sounds mean now that I'm saying it out loud. So, but he would go to sleep. And he did go to sleep, but it was like nap time. That's why he was in there. But now that I think about it, he was probably terrified because he couldn't see anything in there. So I'm feeling a little bit guilty about that. And he's about to turn 21. I could probably let that go, I think, because, we make mistakes. Anyway, you want your space. You want it to feel like a calm command center, not a chaotic command post. And a small touch of joy, a plant, a framed photo, a cozy corner, it can really make all the difference. All right. So the final gentle, easy strategy for the new year is to have a... Whoa, where did that come from? So sorry about that. We're just going to keep going. We're just going to not even worry about it. So the third, of course, this is a gentle, calm thing. And then we have that blasting music. It's a graceful routine reset. So you don't have to do everything on day 1 or day 5. Ease into systems and routines. Start with one daily habit. Maybe it's a mindful minute. Maybe it's a fun dismissal song or journaling after lunch. Let your new rhythm kind of build slowly, if that's your way. For me, I spend a lot more time doing routines and procedures throughout the whole day. I made it fun. Like I would still do my read aloud. We still might start like a math lesson, but I would use Kagan cooperative learning structures to make it more engaging. Like I would teach them how to line up. Let's say we're going to use that as an example. I teach them how to line up in the hall before we actually had to go somewhere. I wanted to teach them before we actually had to go somewhere. It was a little harder when specials was first thing in the morning, I will say. So I would like break it down to steps that we could act out with our body. So it'd be like step 1, push your chair in. Step 2, walk to the line, with a place for your hands. Step 3, stand in your spot. Step 4, keep your hands in the right spot and focus on the person ahead of you. I don't want to make that too complicated. And so I would make it really simple and short. And then we would practice those steps. We would act them out. And then we would get a non-example and then an example. And then I would have kids do a simultaneous roundtable, which is where everybody has the paper and you start with step 1 and they're kind of drawing it out and writing it. And then they rotate around the table, and then the person in spot 1 moves to spot 2, and now on their paper they're going to put the second step in step 2 while someone else is doing that on their paper. So by the time they get back around to their seat, the whole paper is filled out, and it just has a collaborative feel. It also makes it fun. Kids get to move, and it just brings it kind of to life. So that's just one example, but I really liked to focus on routines and procedures. So if you want to start off slowly, that's perfectly fine. But I also think it's okay to like really hit the ground running when it comes to that. Anyway, don't forget, kids benefit the most from a teacher who is grounded and not frazzled. So those are just a few quick tips to keep in mind. You've got this. You really do. This year is, it will pick up speed fast, but if you give yourself a gentle launch, you'll start stronger and more centered. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time. Here's to a joyful start in a year full of possibilities. Until next time, sweet dreams and sleep tight.